We enjoy exploring new ways to prepare our fresh garden produce. In the process, we discover new dishes that we enjoy so much we come back to them time and time again. Today I'll share some of our old favorites, plus new recipes we tried for the first time. What they have in common is that they were all made from harvest from our September garden. There are links to all of the recipes in the description below. We strive for a continuous harvest of fresh garden produce throughout the year. As a result, our harvests are frequent, but usually not very large. But early this month, I had to break out the blue bucket to harvest just some of the ingredients we needed for a feast of some of our favorite Indian dishes. I started by harvesting sweet potato leaves from the front yard garden. We're growing the sweet potatoes in grow bags and hope to get a good harvest of tubers before the first frost. But in the meantime, we're enjoying the leaves, which many people don't know are edible. In fact, they're tasty and nutritious, and a great substitute for spinach during the heat of summer. I then harvested Chinese spinach, good King Henry, and Swiss chard. Finally, I topped the bucket off with purple kale, carrots, and tomatoes. In addition to the blue bucket of garden goodies, I harvested the last of our purple Viking potatoes and used some of them in the meal. I stored the rest. We'll eat the larger ones and save the small ones to use as seed potatoes for next year's crop. Finally, I harvested a few cayenne peppers and a colander full of Triunfo Violetto pole beans, which have produced amazingly well this year. I made everything on the plate except the samosa, which I picked up at an Indian market. The vegetable biryani included potatoes, carrots, and onions from the garden, and I made the aloo falian with homegrown pole beans, potatoes, cayenne peppers, and onions. I used the sweet potato leaves, Chinese spinach, good King Henry, Swiss chard, one of the tomatoes, and garlic and onions harvested earlier to make saag paneer. To keep the Indian feast going, I prepared 2 more dishes to accompany leftovers from the prior meal. For the 2 new dishes, I harvested a couple cucumbers, more cayenne peppers, and eggplants. I used the eggplants, plus tomatoes from the previous harvest, to make eggplant barta, which is a favorite recipe that we come back to again and again. But I made something entirely new with the cucumbers and peppers, cucumber bakri. We enjoyed this recipe, but probably not enough for it to become one of our regulars. I next made a series of Chinese dishes. Though I only made 1 dish per day, they overlapped as we were enjoying a new dish while finishing up leftovers from previous days. This harvest included a lot of the produce needed for the Chinese dishes, including cucumbers, bell peppers, New Mexico Joe E. Parker peppers, eggplants, cayenne peppers, string beans, and tomatoes. To complete the harvest, I picked carrots and sweet potato leaves. The first dish I made was an old favorite, sweet and sour tofu. I followed a typical sweet and sour chicken recipe, but replaced the chicken with tofu. The dish included bell peppers, tomatoes, cucumbers, and carrots from the garden. Though I made this basic recipe many times before, this time I added cucumbers, which made an excellent addition to the meal. The second recipe was one I never made before, Chinese eggplant with spicy garlic sauce, made with eggplant, cayenne pepper, and garlic from the garden. This was one of the tastiest eggplant dishes we've ever had, and we'll definitely make it again. The third recipe was sweet potato leaves stir-fried with garlic, which was very easy to make and delicious. In addition to the sweet potato leaves and garlic, we added cayenne pepper for a little heat. The fourth and last of the Chinese dishes was Szechuan tofu and green bean stir-fry, with green beans, garlic, cayenne peppers, and tomatoes from the garden. I first made this dish this summer, and we like it so much that it's now one of our go-to recipes when we have plenty of green beans on hand. The next recipe is one of my favorites, and it's an attempt on my part to imitate a vegetarian bibimbap dish made by a local vegetarian restaurant. The bottom of this bucket is full of sweet potato leaves harvested for a bibimbap. Of course, it's usually made with spinach, but sweet potato leaves are an excellent spinach substitute. These carrots and cucumbers from an earlier harvest were also included in the dish. We like this recipe so much that we've made it regularly for many years. During that time, I've refined it to the point where I actually like ours better than the one for the restaurant that I was originally trying to imitate. Exploring new ways to enjoy our fresh garden produce is one of the simple joys in life that my wife and I share. And I hope this video encouraged you to do some exploring too. As we close, I'll share more images from our September harvest. Again, you can find links to all of the recipes featured in this video in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe for more videos on how to grow a lot of food on a little land without spending much or working harder than you have to.